Hello, welcome to Week 7 of Philosophies of Life. Last week's sources introduced the concept of human development and its connection with human flourishing and technology. This week, we continue to examine the theme of technology and human development. In this lecture, I will introduce this week's sources, which dive deeper into the work of the United Nations Development Program, allowing us to examine further the relationship between technological innovation and human development. This lecture is again paired with Unit 3 Toolkit, so you may wish to bring that up to take notes while you watch. We begin this week by rereading chapters 1 and 2 from Nussbaum's book, Creating Capabilities. Not only will you gain a deeper understanding from reading the text a second time, but also this deeper understanding will give you background and context that will open up a more complete view of the news sources for this week. Our first news source for this week is the United Nations Development Program's website explaining their 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These goals were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030 all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Our second source for the week is one I mentioned in Week 6, the 2022 Human Development Report, Uncertain Times, Unsettled Lives, Shaping Our Future in a World in Transformation. This report, made to the United Nations Development Program, evaluates the level of human development across the globe, identifies challenges to human development, and makes recommendations for how to respond to these challenges. The entire report is more than 200 pages. You're not required to read the whole thing, don't worry. You are required to read the overview, which is about the first 15-20 pages, and also to examine the indices at the end of the report, which sort of compare and contrast the levels of development in different areas across the globe. But I hope that some of you will be intrigued enough to take a closer look at the chapters in the report, as some of them will be very relevant to both your career aims and to the final project in this course. Our third source is a featured article on the United Nations Development Program website that is particularly relevant to our class content. This source is an article called Making AI Work for Us. It describes the ways that AI can and has been used to aid human development and lays out ethical guidelines that the UNDP recommends to ensure that AI is used to make a more flourishing, just, and sustainable world. Our next to final source is a documentary about how grassroots innovators are working to make a new world. While this source concurs with the UNDP and the capabilities approach to human development in terms of its final goals, ends, or intrinsic values, it challenges in some ways the means or the ways that the UNDP has traditionally used to implement those values. It questions in particular top-down approaches where the answers to development problems are devised and implemented by committees of policymakers and academics with little to no direct knowledge of local issues. While agreeing in values, this video offers different means for approaching development issues. The best critical thinkers in the class may want to look more closely at the producers and funders of the video. And of course, finally, we will return to the Brave New World. In this week, we will finish the book and we will discover and focus on the debate between Mustafa Mann and John the Savage. They debate about the kind of world that is worth making and living in. I will ask you to compare John's and Mann's vision of the world we want with the vision that the UNDP offers, and also I will ask you to begin to develop your own vision of the world worth making by engaging in conversation and dialogue with these sources. So that's it for this week's sources. I hope you find them particularly provocative and inspiring as we conclude the course. Please let me know if you have questions or concerns. As always, I want everybody to succeed in this course.